Shogun versus. Hello, everybody. I'm Crypto Quinton, and welcome to the Shogun Gun Show. Today is April 8th, Tuesday. I gotta say the day. And we are here for our Shill, Chill, and Alpha series. Small day, tiny little baby day. We got some panelists on here, but you know what? It's all the same. We're still here. We're still gonna have some fun. We're still gonna talk about crypto, and we get to hear about some fantastic projects while we are at it. All right. So for those who are new, welcome. I'm going to get this link out in my team so we can start getting some people over here. Now, if you aren't aware, the Shill, Chill, and Alpha Shogun Gun Show series has 3 parts, that of which I just said. The Shill, where we go through all of our participants and show a little bit about what their project is and get to learn a little bit about them. You get to see through different parts, their chart, their community, through their X, and a little bit of Telegram. After that, we go into the Chill. We take a step back, high pace, need to slow it down a little bit. We have our theme. Now the theme is a little bit of a question today. So this is what it's going to be. I'm going to make it up right on the spot right here. You know how all that kind of stuff goes. The theme, I just had it in my head and it's gone. What was it? All right, we'll get back to that. I had it and I was like, yes, this is perfect timing, and it gone. But we're going to talk about a little bit of crypto. We're going to ease into it. We're going to go through everyone. We're going to get to a consensus about a certain subject. Or if not, that's okay. We can have difference. We can have differences. That's okay. Then after that, we're going to move on to the alpha, which is the last part. We're up here. We have 2 people, maybe a third one. We might have a little bit of the swarm coming in here, maybe, possibly, hopefully. But once they are in here, or maybe, possibly, we'll go through all of our participants, and they'll share a little bit of one thing that is going to happen within the 2 weeks. That's the rules. 2 weeks, then, of what is really big going to happen. That way you can all go in there, front run the chart, have a little bit of fun there, and then you have something to introduce them to. Because at the same time, we know the market's not looking great. Sol had a really big hit, a whole bunch of stuff. We can talk all day about that. But the big thing is what are you doing despite that? What are you doing and what are you building and developing despite everything that's happening? That's what we want to hear, and that's what's really important to us. All right. So that being said, I'm not going to forget my transitions these times. We worked really hard making these transitions. So we are going to move on to the first section, which is going to be the Shill section. All right. Welcome. So we're going to do a little bit of introductions as we get into this section. First, we're going to start with Matt from Aftar. How you doing, my man?
Yo, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Ooh, we're doing really good. A wonderful Tuesday afternoon. Up next, we have Angel from Dank. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Sorry for the slight delay. I was trying to unmute. I'm doing great, bro. It's a wonderful morning. It's nice and sunny down here on the West Coast. That's currently where I'm at. The weather's been getting a little bit warmer, so that's nice. In comparison to all the rain we've been getting. Not saying we don't need it, but
Yeah, it's about the stuff. The weather's really important. It impacts your emotions. That's super important. All right. So from here, you guys know the deal I explained about. I'll say it one more time for you guys. This is a little bit of section for me to go around. I have some of your links. I'll also be showing it. So if I'm onto a certain location and you want to sort of me to redirect to one place, you can let me know. You can also provide links in the private chat underneath. But if you don't give me anything to go off of, I'm just going to explore and roam around. I'm going to have fun a little bit myself. So let's start first with Matt from Aftar.
Yeah, awesome, man. So AFTAR is basically an acronym which stands for Advocating for the Amazon Rainforest. So really what the token is all about was I had noticed way back, I don't know, in December, in dabbling in different projects and communities that, people weren't just looking to have just fun or ride hype on a 20 to 48 hour pump and dump type of thing. They were actually looking to be part of a community and part of a project that was striving to make a difference, not just like in a chart, but in the physical world around us. And one of the projects that I was introduced doing that was a project called Toss there's another one out there called Plath, where they're kind of advocating for sea turtles, and other ones like platypus. And I had watched something, basically a podcast with Joe Rogan and this guy named Paul Rosalie, and he was talking about what's happening in the Amazon with the deforestation and everything that's happening, and trying to create awareness, etc. So I kind of took what he shared and then learned, really what the crypto, specifically the meme coin industry, was looking to do, and wanted to give people in this space an opportunity to do something really special. So launched after in February, not in the best, ideal market conditions is when we launched, like many others. We got our initial kind of spike. It took us about 48 hours to bond, had those initial dips. And then naturally, as the marketplace started to, let's say, take a little bit of a downswing, our chart took a little bit of a downswing as well. And one of our main focal points is that as the project grows and market cap grows, we do want to increase donations going into the Amazon. But that said, in this crypto space, man, everybody is a little bit nervous right now with everything that's going on. A lot of people are converting SOL to USD, just waiting for the market to snap back. So people's ability to even buy on charts and even do additional donations to some of the places that we're focused in on is a little bit tight right now. So what we've been doing is just grinding, like every other project out there. We're still focused on, hey, what can we be doing in May? What can we be doing in June? And not worry about the chart as much, and then just stay focused on on basically what are our controllables, right? Because ultimately we need to focus in on the daily activities every day, and just focus in on the newer strategies, which I'll share a little bit more on the alpha on what we're working on. But man, feel very fortunate to have really tight community helping, and it's really cool with projects over time where a lot of folks that came in, let's say after the launch, and not the ones that you knew prior to launch, are now really those lead community members that are treating the project as if it is their own. Which as a dev, I can't tell you how awesome that is, to have 3 or 4 team members that, I was telling them the other day, I'm like, no, I'm not the dev. I'm like a co-dev now, right? Because I view everybody else as basically another dev on the project. And that's kind of support through this kind of economic downturn has just been awesome, right? Because it's kind of like now we're all lockstep, arm in arm. We're always sharing ideas and strategies and DMs and stuff like that. And we even started just looking at one donation organization, which was Jungle Keepers to start, which you kind of highlighted when you're going through the website, etc. But now we've even identified a couple others. I've even started making phone calls to some of these donation organizations out there, because we really want to strive that after becomes an accepted form of really currency in the long run, right? Like that, because a lot of basically donation organizations don't accept crypto. So why not be one of the first that is that accepted form of donation amongst donation organizations globally? And that's really what we're striving for. And that's the end game, right? That's the 8-month, looking way out the window type of, game plan. But to get there, it's those little kind of steps, and we got to grind it out. And then ultimately even identify some of these influencers out there that are advocates for the Amazon rainforest. And you know this better than anyone, Quentin, that in this industry, influencers are very skeptical about meme coins, like the big ones, right? And I'm talking the influencers that aren't involved in crypto at all, the ones that they're just focused in on a mission to do something. They don't even know what crypto is, right? They might only joke about it. But if you get one of those type of influencers that all of a sudden can connect the dots and realize the power of the community, of the crypto community, and how to harness that for their kind of their mission, which, you know, would match ours, which is advocating for the Amazon rainforest, and we get one of them, right? That is really where our focal point needs to be at. And you don't do that by having a meme coin that is a month old. You don't do that having a meme coin probably 2 or 3 months old. So we're going to need to be 4 or 5 months old before someone realizes, okay, these guys are the real deal. They're here to stay. They won't care what the chart is, but they will see that we're grinding, right? And that we're you know, it's not just a, hey, they had an idea and a week later that idea is gone, right? Like, so it will take time for us to tap into those type of influencers. So in the meantime, we just got to stay the course, keep grinding, and keep building the community, and then get the message out there. And then one of the other things I'll share, and this isn't really much of the alpha. I'll share more about that in a minute. But you know, we've been holding open Shill spaces on X. So you know, like even Angel, you know, anybody from your team, we're going to be doing that today at 4 p.m. We invite any project to come join our spaces, because right now more than ever, I think it is so important that all of these projects that are grinding right now really unite together and support one another. And that doesn't mean we have to buy on each other's chart every single time, right? That'd be ideal. But you know, the best thing that we can do for one another is give each other opportunities to speak, support one another, give ideas, share best practices, because one project might be doing something really well that someone could take that and help theirs. And then they could learn from another project saying, oh man, we're not doing that. So that's really kind of our intent on, you know, some of these open show formats, is to just have a really good conversation and show support and really show the overall crypto community that, hey, we're all here to stay, number one. And despite the uncertainty in the market, there are projects out there that are grinding. So when the market does snap back, that hopefully one or all of these projects will benefit, because everyone will realize, man, you know, with the open amount of rugs that happen on a daily basis, any of these projects would have rugged in the last week or 2 weeks. So all the ones that are grinding right now are the ones that you should be looking at and knowing that, okay, when you are ready to buy a bag somewhere, you should really consider one of these types of projects out there. Obviously, we're hopeful that it's ours, but I'd also be hopeful that they might buy a bag of Angel, and we're going to hear him show their project. You know, it's because the people grinding right now should be the ones that people would want to look at to, you know, buy a bag and know that, you know, they're in for a great journey with a great community. So that's enough about that for now, and I'm open to any questions, and I'm happy to answer some of those as well.
That's really cool. You guys got a lot of different components to your project, and definitely when you're looking at a project that's here to do good and has a dream later on, even if it's not considered alpha, but just like, this is our dream to do, and there's stepping stones to it. That's a-okay. You guys are here, like just like what you were saying, all good things of, everyone knows it's a tough time. We've been going through a tough time for a long time. But that's the thing, you hear it all the time, like, you know, it's a tough week. All right, but when does a tough week become a tough month, then become a tough half a year, and then a year, and all these different types of things, where taking a breath, going through, looking at what you have, continuing to build and develop and plan, definitely like what you're saying with the team that's there intellectually and just showing up in different locations is super big. I do agree that having the open Shill space is super important, not just on the center of like the support, and I think you put that really well. It's not just about buyers on a chart, but it's about the cross communication of your community, of your plans and your ideas, and being able to brainstorm. Because like, realistically, looking at Shogun as well, a lot of our service ideas came from communicating with people that were there and going, you know, I'm really struggling in this department. I think I really need this. And that's where we developed into. So it's those types of environments, those types of enrichments that you get from other communities that, there's a phrase for it, the collaboration of different communities that will build not just you, but other people around you, and even observers as well. That's super important. That's really cool to hear. Very good, Shill. Very good job. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem. So after that, we're gonna go to our next person. You know, there's only 2 people, or maybe 3. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a Shogun Shill, possibly, maybe. But Angel, let's hear it for Dank Memes, my man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, appreciate you having me up here on stage, man. Huge opportunities here. And honestly, before I go into Dank, I want to say Matt, honestly, really was cooking right there in terms of the PVE space. I think that's a really important aspect that we need to push more. In this current space, there's a lot of PvP going on, and honestly, there's just no need for all that. Everybody can win, and I think, like he said, it's not even a matter of just supporting each other through buying into the chart. But I mean, we learn something new every day. I guarantee you, there is somebody out here in the world right now who knows one thing you don't. So like always be open to learning and being able to, take a look at a team and be like, yeah, the way that they do blank, blank, and blank is awesome. We can incorporate that somehow. So no, he definitely has a point there. And I mean, if I have the time, I'd love to stop by this space. We actually just had a shared space with Memes AI the other night. So yeah, that was really hype. But yeah, no, Matt, you definitely were cooking there. And yeah, you piqued my interest for sure. But now, going on to my project, or I'm not going to say my project, right? The team I represent, Dank Memes on Solana. So, what are Dank Memes? Well, I don't feel I need to elaborate too much, right? Unless you're living under a rock. If you grew up with the internet, you grew up with Dank Memes. It's simple. And you would think that, I think most of the time when I bring this up to people, they ask like, or their main point is like, well, if it's a meme coin market, why hasn't it already existed? And honestly, my answer to that is I don't think the market was ready. I don't think the people that were ready to win the way that this community was ready. I think the collective consciousness all at one, like, just had the same thought in January. I want to win. I want something that I personally have connection to and understand. And I mean, yeah, Dank Memes was birthed in January, really the start of it all for the market right now. But real Chads ain't worried about that. Um, but yeah, we were born in January and we were pushing against the market for a while. Uh, we cooked pretty hard. We hit 1 million. I don't know how many times before we for real broke out. I mean, it was one hell of a ride, and I was even retail. I'm still new. I've only come into this market December and had been thinking about it since last April, but it was December that I officially took the plunge. But yeah, January, I discovered this community. I didn't need a thesis on it. It just clicked instantly. And so I full engaged with the community and eventually was offered a spot on the admin team. I had caught the admins in a voice chat and, they modded me up and, you know, uh, here we are. I've had a great time. I try to stay very humble and appreciative of the community and the platform that I have and the people that I represent, because overall it's just an awesome community. Everyone shows up every day, and no one is too fixated on price talk. Because if we were just fixated on price talk all day, you know, that's miserable. No one wants to sit there and hear about that all day. I'm sure they'd much rather hear about how your day went or what we have planned as a team. For the project. And honestly, I'm bullish on this for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons being is the team we have. Honestly, the team we've been building behind this and the community we've been building behind this is priceless. Because how do I put it? Uh, how do I put it? I'm for lack of better words, I'm like trying to
Okay,
say
that's
this,
okay, brother.
yeah, eloquently, right?
Yeah.
um, oh man, I'm like having a brain fart like you had earlier, brother.
They're
Oh,
contagious. They're terrible.
no, yeah, knock. You got a knock to remember, and I just did. But I think what I was trying to say was part of the many reasons why I'm bullish is because this team, we're a bunch of builders. We don't care if the market is up or down because we create wealth from building these ecosystems, and we understand that these things take time. Planted seeds don't sprout overnight, you know. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of time. It's a matter of patience and understanding that market conditions like this don't always last forever. Um, and nothing goes up for forever. That's something else to take in mind. So price correction is always inevitable. But yeah, I really love this community. super easy to understand, easy narrative. Uh, the utility and whatnot and tokenomics is currently being built. So super bullish.
Yeah, definitely like growing up, you look at me, I'm younger on that side. So growing up in my life, that young, like, I would say like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare, all Halo, like like my first interactions with the internet were based off of those types of memes and those types of content. So it's like for me, it has a lot of nostalgia basis for it. And so definitely when you're looking at like the question that you said, why hasn't this been made yet? I have no clue because it is such a good idea and you have a really good spin to it of they just weren't ready for winning this game, and I like that a lot. But no, I really like both, like because I got locked really hard onto your X just looking at the different. Like, I was like, oh wait, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm just scrolling here.
Yeah,
It's
man,
ridiculous.
quality content on that page, man. It's nothing but dank memes.
That's what I'm talking about, and I see even a little bit. Let me pull it up here. Even a little bit. Is that the swarm right
Yes,
there?
sir.
Swarm
Yes, sir.
beacons
That
right
is
there.
one of the team members made that image. Shout out Mooney. Yeah, we posted that the night of the memes AI space, man. Dude, we got a lot of love for the swarm, bro. Shout out the memes AI community because for one, it was some members of the team who got me onto this show. Big love for them. But there's just a lot of cross pollination between our community and theirs, and we embrace it honestly. It's an awesome thing because, like Matt was saying, we basically build off of each other and learn from each other every day. So that's definitely what the space needs for sure.
Yeah, 100%. That like it. Anyways, it comes up a lot, but definitely that community, that building, or that cross community building is also important because everyone talks about community building, but how do communities interact? Because I know initially when I first came onto the industry, there was a lot of fear of that collaboration of like, no, no, don't, like it's them and it's us and they talk, but we want to talk and we're better because of this. I was like a lot. It was like that really that PvP mentality, not just on an individual basis, but on a community basis. And I think we're beginning to see a little bit more of how communities can interact with pride of who they are, but also being able to dabble in other communities. People can be a part of multiple communities and still have pride and still be committed and still be involved into the creation of that community. And so it's like looking at to like you don't question people in real life whether they go to tennis and play basketball or football and wrestling. You don't look at that and go, come on, faker. No, it's just, oh, that person does a lot. That's it. And so I think it's the same application onto communities. So I think you guys, what you guys are doing with the cross communication, the collaboration, and being able to pump each other up and have fun, that's so cool. I really love that.
Hell yeah, man. And honestly, I'm really excited moving forward for other possibilities, for other communities. I would love to collaborate with. I'm not going to sit here and say anything, obviously, because nothing is official. But just know that that is something I am definitely working towards. And just yeah, I hope your bags are packed for when that happens.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. I love to hear that. Very good job. Fantastic show. Here. All right. So this is what we're going to do today. The theme for Alpha. I'm just thinking about it, so I'm gonna put it out there. The theme is going to be putting yourself out there. So I work at my school with a lot of different students. And definitely when I look at my teen students inside of my teens class, one of the biggest fears is putting yourself out there and going out there and being vulnerable. And that process of leading and doing and creating and being proactive is really cool to think about because it's like you're building stuff and it's yours, but you're being vulnerable with that factor. You're putting yourself out there. So, how do you prepare yourself, or if you prepare yourself, or is it just like natural for you? But what do you do to put yourself out there to be vulnerable when you're in the process of leading and creation? So that's going to be a theme for today. You better remember it. You better remember it because we're going to come up on that soon. Before we do that, we're going to do a little tiny baby shill for Shogun. So, I mean, you guys are on the Shogun show. You've probably heard of Shogun. If you guys are just here as a quick station identification, you're watching the Shogun Gun Show, the Shill, Chill, and the Alpha. Currently, we have 173 people on live. I don't have a good setup for the screenshots, so I'm sorry. You're just going to have to trust me this time. But we're 25 minutes in, 175. Shogun Cryptos is leading with 159 people currently watching. Second one up. Thank you very much, Matt Aftar. Love your contribution. Thank you for sharing. We got 14 people coming from you, so you're taking the second, your main lead for the panelist position. Very good job. Second to last, Trader Max's X account got 2 people, and then the YouTube, which we just use for the recording anyway. That's okay. You know, YouTube's weird like that, but no one on the YouTube, but that's okay. But thank you, Matt, very, very much.
Of course, man. And hey, we still got some time. We'll keep cranking up those numbers. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah,
we got another 30 minutes to crank it up. Here we go. We'll finish strong.
Nice. I love to hear that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself up here, and then I am going to pull which one is it? Let's do this one. All right. So welcome to Shogun. This is our website, Shogun Crypto. Now we have a lot of different things. And I'm just going to give a blank overview of Shogun because you've heard of the Anvil bot, you've heard of the Launchpad. If you haven't, then this is a fantastic place to be. But what is Shogun here for? Shogun is about helping, is about creating, and is about developing the future inside of crypto on as many different levels as we possibly can. But our main MO is helping people. We love to help people. Now we got to keep the lights on. We got to do all this different types of stuff. So we can't just give it away for free yet. But we have a whole bunch of different services that we do, both ranging on price from free to just transactions, whole bunch of stuff. Now, you're on our website. There's a whole bunch of different things looking at here, all different ranges. Big thing that I'm going to point to is the services section. Here you have 3 major services, but I'm going to highlight these 2 because this one should be taken off. That's okay. That's my fault. That's my fault. But right now we got the WebForge system. Now, the WebForge system is all about creating on the backside of it. So we use a white label service that we have contorted and moved around and made optimized for crypto. That is all about being able to prepare, create, deploy, engage, measure, control, and expand your community and your project. So it's a CRM system. So you're able to take in information from contacts, manage them along pipelines, and also put them out. But that's not all. You're able to also do a social planner where you're able to plan all those little outcrop social media such as Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So you're able to get that much more reach with way less than normal effort that it would be to do so. Additionally, if you want to create a website from there, there's a website builder. I use it as a web developer to create it because it's super easy to make. It has fantastic SEO. It has fantastic optimizations for mobile and desktop, but also has customization values for you to hand put in code. So if you want to, you can come here. Down here, you have a little form. You have a Telegram to join so that I can see you and I can help you get set up. You'll be dealing with me there, and you can get set up. Now, additionally, we provide a building website service, freelance style. Now, we've done a whole bunch of other websites where we've gone through and helped develop their website for them. And pretty much this is, you want a website, you need a website, you need it quickly and you need it good, but you just don't have the time, which is okay, and it's completely normal. I mean, most devs don't have time as is. I'm pretty sure you're aware of that. You can see all the other people that we've made websites for, and down here you can sign up to be registered. That way, you hit that form, you'll pop up on my side. I'll see you and I can reach out to you. And additionally, you can also go into this little Telegram link, and I will see you from there too. So WebForge, but that's just one of the things. That's just one thing that we do. So many things. So I'm going to try to speed it up a little tiny baby bit. Up next is the Anvil bot. Now, we just a bit ago released our 2.0. 2.5 is coming up with even more. But the Anvil bot is all about volume. But the specifics of volume, it's not just blah volume and shove it in your face and make it look good. No, it's not bundled wallets. It's volume through actual buys on the chart. So guess what this means? It's not just a volume bot. It's a DCA bot. You can DCA in and DCA out because that's essentially what you're doing when you put stuff in here. Now, that being said, you can also control all the metrics that it uses. So it's not just an on switch that you turn on and on. There's dials. You can hone it in. You can aim it to do what you want, how you want to do it. That means buy ratios, trade amounts, buy periods, buy and sell periods. So how long does it take to do the next part of your ratio? And then being able to put funds in, native funds. All the wallets that you put in through it are yours. You get supplied the private keys for that. Additionally, you can create multiple wallets to trade through multiple tokens on different levels. So you can go as high as you want with this or as bare minimum. What this is fantastic for, even right now, even in a market like this, is just relevance. You need a certain amount of volume to stay on DEX. You need a certain amount of volume to come up on your Phantom wallet or whatever wallet you're using. Just putting in a little bit of a trickle amount inside of the Anvil bot can help keep your project relevant. And that's big. But I was talking with Matt from After and then a little bit from Angel on the before show. You got to be ready for when stuff starts to run up, because it's all nice and comfortable when things are low and there's a nice excuse to get comfortable and sort of settle in and just wait. But it's not going to be like that forever. Once things start to pump up again, you're going to want to be ready for it. You're wanting to shoot up and follow that momentum. This is a fantastic tool to use for that. Now, we have one more tool that is directly available. I'm going to see if I can put in the domain name right at the top of my head. Think. Oh no, I don't know the right domain name. I gotta get it. Here's the thing. I'm a web developer, but I'm not perfect. That's okay. We're still getting it up on the site. But the Shogun Launchpad is all about being able to launch your token. So you sort of see that we're all about the development of a community, development of a token. So you get your project, you're launched off of the Launchpad. It's supported through the Anvil bot. You can come onto the Shogun Gun Show. Remember, this is one of our services. Show what your project's all about, and then continue to support it after that. Now, additionally, last thing I'll talk about is the Shogun Gun Show. Shogun Gun Show, you have 3 different positions all about showing your project. Essentially, you come in through here, you read what we have to talk about on each position. Won't take too much more of your time, but you fill out the proper form. You can click any of these buttons to go to your form and reach out to us inside of Telegram. That way we know who you are and when to schedule you, and you'll get right up here just as everyone else is currently in this visual platform. That way we can show who you are. You can talk about what you are, but people can see it. Look what you can see my screen right now. And you can also, as of the other people we're talking inside of their Shill, Chill, and Alpha soon, you will also be able to see the different components of their project visually on top of that. Normal spaces, you can just hear it, but now you can actually see it. All right. Super fast Shill. Hopefully it didn't take too much time, right? I'm still doing good on time. 33 minutes. All right. Cool.
Looking good.
Nice. I appreciate you. Now, from here, we're going to move on to the chill section. Remember, it's going to be all about being able to talk about how do you put yourself out there, being vulnerable, leading, doing that. You got to sort of prepare yourself. How do you do that? So let's get right into it with this chill section. As very, very nice. All right. So I'm just going to go around the room, see what people have to say. Now, I haven't made a fancy banner today. Well, maybe I can. There's nothing stopping me from just writing it right now. Putting yourself out there. How do you handle being vulnerable?
Nice. So I'd love to chime in on this one, because we got to talk about what is one of the biggest barriers to entry in being vulnerable, right? And that's our ego. And most of the time, right? Because everyone's got pride and an ego to some degree, and it's good. It's healthy to have pride. It's healthy to have an ego. You need those things to be successful, but at the same time, to find success, you also have to be vulnerable. You have to open yourself up. You have to be willing to be criticized. You have to be willing to accept new ideas. You have to be willing to listen to other people. You have to be willing to collaborate, etc. And know that, you know, in finding success typically means you have a few failures along the way, and you have to be willing to accept that and be vulnerable to it. Because if you're not willing to accept a lot of these things, then, you know, you kind of just might live a life of just being stubborn, right? So, you know, when you talk about being vulnerable, let's take it even outside of the crypto world, right? Um, it's important in life that if you're struggling in life with something, reach out to a friend or family member and talk to them. Let them know what's going on in your life, because what you're going to realize is you have a lot more people out there that will support you, and be that ear that will listen, that will give you guidance, that, you know, and sometimes you might need help financially. Sometimes you might just need help emotionally, or other times you might just need some ideas or guidance. But no one can help you in any of those things if you're not vulnerable and willing to reach out to them. So just know that in life, you do have many more people that are willing to help you than you probably realize. And don't be afraid to put your ego on the shelf when you find yourself in that tough environment, and reach out to those people, because your family goes way beyond bloodlines. I'll tell you that right now. And everybody listening in will probably agree that there are people in their lives that are like a brother, sister, uncle, mother, father, or in some cases, like you know, maybe even a child, like a father-son relationship, just because of an age gap. But there's a relationship there nonetheless that is not bloodline related or marriage related. So I think in being vulnerable, you need to open yourself up to all these things. And the first thing to do is to put your ego on the shelf, stick your pride on the shelf, and then just reach out, right? And don't take anything personally. You have to put your own emotions. And Quentin, I think you articulated that a little bit earlier about talking about emotions, right? You have to set emotions aside. And emotions are a good thing, don't get me wrong, but we can't make good decisions based upon emotion. We have to make good decisions based upon logic. And, you know, and so when you can set those emotions on the shelf, and then when you're vulnerable, then when you get that feedback or get guidance or reach out to people, then you're accepting everything with basically logic being at the forefront of your mind, right? And I think that's really, really important. So that's kind of my chill portion on that vulnerability.
I like that a lot. The idea of looking to other people as well for help, inspiration, and guidance is also a really important part, because I, at least I know from my friends and my peers, the process of developing yourself is like a lone road where you're the lone wolf, and you know, you got to build by yourself, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and all these different types of things. And while it's important to have that strength, it's also important to realize that sometimes you got to put that away. You got to put the pride aspect of it and genuinely use the team and the people that you have near you, not necessarily as a factor of, okay, I'm going to use you now, you got to help me, but as a relief,
Yep.
because nothing more than genuine help and genuine, what's the word for it? Not cross communication, but communication of that factor of that you need help.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. 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 And, you know, and it's one of those things where, you know, and many people have probably heard this analogy before, but I think it's relevant here, which is when you see that, I think it's like a flock, you know, basically of geese flying, and they're in that V formation, right? There's always one that's the leader, but that's only for a little while. And then they pivot, and that bird then goes to the back, and it lets the next one take the lead, because it's absorbing all of that wind shear coming in. And so it's easier to fly when it's at the back. And they all kind of take turns going up there, right? And we can kind of take a chapter of that in our own lives, knowing that sometimes we have to lead the way and be the one that's taking all that wind shear, right? But
Yeah.
then other times we're going to have to stick our ego on the shelf and kind of, get in the back and let someone else take the lead for a little while we're regrouping, right? And in the crypto world, we kind of view that as cooking with devs, right? Where, when a dev's cooking, they're kind of in the back and they're letting other people like in the admins and, leaders like, we even have on this call right now on another project, right? That are taking that lead role while, allowing somebody else to kind of sit at the back of there, right? So, yeah, I just figured I'd share that because I think it might be relevant in this conversation.
I've never heard of that before, but I really like that concept of the goose formation and being in the front taking the wind shear, but also being able to rotate out through that like they do. I really like that. All right, Angel, do you have anything to talk about as far as the topic for today?
No, yeah, man, we can sit here and yap all day about that.
Yeah.
And goes back to the conversation we were having on the last show I spoke on with organization and just being able to, like, he really hit the nail on the head. Just having a team that you can go back to and essentially understand that it's almost like blocks and everyone's clocking in and out, um, in a sense. And another thing too with the whole vulnerability thing, I think for me, I mean, I've always uh, been pretty comfortable with sociably at least, right? Um, and coming into this space, it is I did have to take into consideration. I would have to always have my guard up, and not that I don't ever have my guard up, but like in this space especially, just because it's hard, to trust in this space, and trust is earned, and it's not just through words, but it's through actions. Actions speak louder than words, but that's why I try to lead by example. Leading by example often can, show other people like, oh, like if he's being vulnerable, right? Like he's really sticking his neck out for us right now, or like whatever the case may be. And that sometimes is really all it takes to push people over that edge to fully, you know, let the flower blossom, right? Um, so yeah, being vulnerable for me personally, to an extent, right? I am with with folks, uh, and it might even also not just saying it's only a Southern hospitality thing, but like down south, it's like you got to be straight up. We're straight up, and so like that's ingrained into me as well. So I think I just got to be grateful for my mother and my upbringing over there, and it goes back to what Matt was saying as well, being stubborn, that can definitely kick you in the butt down the line, because you'll be looking back and you'll just be like, dang, maybe I should have took their help, or maybe I shouldn't have been so hard-headed and trying to listen what they had been trying to tell me. I definitely, and like, everybody has those moments, but yeah, for real, just could not apologize enough to my mom and everybody who has helped me along the way, for sticking it out with me, for how hard-headed I was. So yeah, I always gotta give them their props.
That's really big is the learning side of it. And like being younger, like I definitely wasn't a perfect kid. you know, uh, and definitely growing up, the process of my parents and being it like I work with my dad here. Come on, you know what I mean. But no, that's I really like that a lot of the process that you being vulnerable is important of to put yourself out there, but also controlling it a little. Like you got to be aware. You know, you're not like, oh, here you go. All right, here's my neck. To like stab me, but not too hard. You can't go too much. And so the process of being able to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and to become better in situations that you're comfortable with is different from being weak, unprepared, and over trusting. I think that's a line that can sometimes be really tough to find. is where how vulnerable, like in the sense of the word, like when I think of growing into the space of business and development and creation, like in my mind, vulnerability is the things that I'm scared to do, that I'm not confident that I can do and that I haven't done before. And to do that, or maybe to stand up to someone or to put your voice out there that is a general contradiction, that stuff is what I would to assume a safe, or not safe, but a reasonable, calculated vulnerability. That you are not comfortable, you haven't done this before, you don't have a ton of experience below your belt, but you're gonna do it anyway because you gotta you gotta start somewhere, and what you're doing is something that you believe in. And definitely in this space where innovation is like one of the biggest words used around, that like I the process of being vulnerable for something is normal. Like even just in a certain process of, I have a community, we're different. Why is that okay? Why is it okay that my community is different and doing it this way? When sometimes there's not a lot of validation into a concept. And that's what you see a lot. Like we see a lot of that here directly, even inside of this call to a certain level. So that's really important. Now, from there, do you guys have anything else to say from that?
No, man, no. I mean, I think that it was all just a healthy conversation there, and I'm hoping that all the listeners had a good takeaway because I think there's some good things there. I certainly appreciate what both of you guys just said.
Yeah, definitely. Like that was being inside of here and why we do the chill sections is to learn, is to develop and enrich what we all are. Even as a teacher at a martial arts school, the process isn't that. Even when I'm teaching kids, is not that. Oh, I'm going to teach you this, and I know everything, and no, 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 no. It's about learning together. It's about, in a community sense, growing. Not just okay. There's one leader at the top; they know everything, and they're just pointing and going and doing it. They're learning too. We're all learning, and we're all developing, and we're all putting ourselves out. So I really like all the different positions I heard from today, and I think that's a wonderful caveat into
No,
our next section. You
definitely.
have something to say?
Yeah, just before we head off, sorry.
Yeah.
Every man has his own baggage he carries. It never hurts out to even it's like just reaching out and helping, being vulnerable, and because you never know, your team member or your friend or whoever you're reaching out to might even just have the piece of knowledge or advice that you need to be able to go about your situation the right way and being able to prevail in the face of whatever adversity you're facing. So yeah, always reach out. You always got the homies to uplift you, 100%.
Exactly. Know who, create those relationships, create that networking, and reference it. That's really big. I liked all the different topics. I definitely, that process of talking with other people was something that I wasn't originally envisioning. And so I was like, I love that as a process of, there's a whole nother thing that I didn't even think about and hadn't thought about in relation to this topic. And that's what we can get from here. So again, if you're looking onto this show and you have something to say about this and you have a lot of experience and you're just itching to come on and talk about stuff like this, hit us up and we'll get you on. All right. So from there, we're going to move on to the final section, the alpha section. I hope you're as excited as I am because definitely in this time of working, I would love to hear what is going on. So let's do it. All right. So coming from there, we're gonna go top down. We're gonna start very wonderfully. As soon as I turn the banner off from the chill section, we're gonna go from Matt from Aftar. What do you got going on within Aftar?
Awesome, man. Yeah, and by the way, I have a conference call with work here at 2 p.m. So in 10 minutes. So if I have to drop, that's why. But that said, as far as what do we have happening, man? So a couple of cool things. One is we talked about this a while back, that it did come true, which was when we're talking about communities and getting together, we've all been part of a community where we've been in the TG and we saw, people talking to one another, and it's a great community. And then you might hold a bag in another community and you're like, man, this is a good community. Imagine if these two just were to collaborate, what kind of magic would happen? Well, we took that to a whole nother level, and we actually bonded our liquidity pool with not one, not two. We now have 4 projects in this alliance, and we have a 5th that after is bonded with already, that they're in the final stages of bonding with the other. So basically we're probably at in essence 5 projects, and we're looking to continue to scale this, where as you buy on one chart, it can positively impact the other charts. Now that is a smaller kind of impact, but it's designed that way because you don't want, let's say, another chart that gets crippled really, hurting the other charts. But the cool thing is that when that one chart takes a big dump from a whale or something, that one chart does not have to absorb all of the impact. And then even the minimal impact is spread out amongst all the other tokens. But imagine like the positive side, which is, and we notice it's kind of like a 1-2% lift, where let's say 4 projects all increase their market cap by, I don't know, 200K. Well, and another project just stayed idle. Well, 200K, and you do 2% of 200K, and then times that by 3 projects. Well, you just positively impacted another project's market cap by $15,000 market cap, and that project didn't do anything. There's no buys in their chart. So it's one of those really, really cool things that not only did we talk about, we were looking at that, basically like 3-4 weeks ago. It did come true, but the alpha is we're continuing to add, right? So in the next couple of weeks, we're looking to get to 10, 12. By the end of the year, we're actually looking to get even higher, right? We're now take that whole collaboration, and no more need for hiring raiders, right? You have a centralized Telegram. Everybody from all the alliances go in there, and you start with the first raid being on, let's say, the alliance in general, just saying, hey, let's raid the alliance. Then you could say, okay, hey, project 1, I am going to share the projects in there because I think it's important. So TOS is one of the projects. So, okay, everybody goes and shills for TOS. Then the next project could be after. Everybody from all 4-5 communities go shill after. Then with the next one, wolf, everybody's going in and shilling wolf. Then the next one, church, everybody's going in and shilling church. And then you just rotate it back to the top. Start with the community shill. So now you have, because most telegrams, really, when you boil it down, I mean, you're probably going to have 5 to 10 really active people. Now, if you're a monster of a project with a really high market cap, maybe that number is a little bit higher. But in general, 5 to 10, I think, is a reasonable amount to think that you might have. So when you have, let's say, 10 projects in this alliance, all of a sudden you have 50 to 100 people that are active people in Telegram out there shilling, right? Well, that is just awesome. So that's one from the alpha. And then the second, in the very near future, we have the images done, and we're looking to roll out some NFTs. So one of our admins, she did an incredible job with some images. I'm excited about theirs, but not just NFTs, because I think in general, you have to have something fun behind the NFT, right? Or in many cases, I come from a sales background, and I'm always asking, what's in it for me? So I kind of put my head in that space. So really, I'm looking at having as high as, right? I'm not sure if this is going to be the thing, but I'm looking at as high as 50% of the NFT is going to be basically going into prizes and giveaways, where maybe 20% of that might be in like a short-term type of prize. Another 20% might be in like a weekly or bi-weekly. And then another 10% is going towards like a jackpot type thing. And I even have a game, I kind of mapped it out on Excel, because I'm an Excel guru sometimes, where, it might be as you're buying an NFT, certain things might happen, and you're moving towards something where once you get there, you qualify. And then basically the idea would be that, let's say you just bought one NFT for, let's say, 0.1 SOL, because that will be probably we're going to have different variations like 0.1, maybe 0.25, 0.5, 1, etc. But let's just say 0.1 SOL. And let's say 5 of those NFTs are bought. Well, the 5 or 6 or whatever, Well, the prize, right, for someone that bought one of those, they would actually get in return, once those are purchased or that threshold is met, they have an opportunity to win not only their money back, but then some, right? So they could buy an NFT and end up getting more money back than what they spent. I think that's pretty kick-ass, right? So why not? Because you still have that NFT available to trade and all that sort of stuff in the long run. But then the game side will allow people to progress and have another opportunity to win some more dollars. So if they missed the first time, maybe there's a second time. And then there's a big grand thing that, okay, once, let's say, all the NFTs are sold, then there's a really big prize pool out there that could be very significant. And I'm talking, it could be over $1,000, right? So I want people to have an opportunity to win some buku bucks. I might even be doing some things where if you buy a certain amount on the chart, that would include you getting an NFT. And then by getting that NFT, you would actually advance on a game board, which basically gets you a little bit closer towards one of those jackpots where now you're a little bit more in the game and now you might even buy an NFT. So got some things cooking with the NFT. So that's really where the focus has been in really the last week, with the market being as troublesome as it is just thinking outside the box. And then, by the way, the other part would be go to supporting the marketing wallet. And then also another portion will be going to donations towards the Amazon. So it should be a win-win-win. But in the short term, the biggest win is going to be for the people buying the NFTs. I want them to benefit more than even our marketing wallet will, right? So that's why we're donating up to 15% towards prizes and contests. So that's kind of our alpha right now.
Yeah, talk about some sick alpha. Definitely, like when I look at NFTs myself, I get into this sort of same mindset of like, what do I get from it? Like, obviously, like if it's a big community, I'm like, oh my god, I just want that just to have it. Like that's a part of it. But having a direct mechanism to be a part of with prizes and this complex system, that's fun. And I think that's one thing that I sort of forgot to talk about inside the chill section was when you're doing stuff around here, have fun. And that's so important. And definitely if you're building that right into your systems, that's really, really cool to see. I really like that.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we're excited. And by the way, I do have my conference call coming up, but I see that on X I'm up to like 40, so I'm not going to drop. I'm just going to stay on, and I'm going to stay muted, but I won't be participating in the conversation as my teams just popped up that people are already in the lobby waiting for me to join and kick off my conference call. So I really appreciate the time. I am going to stay on here. So you'll just have to boot me once the call's over. But really appreciate it. And Angel, once again, open invite to anybody from you or the team to join spaces today or any day moving forward that you see us hosting. Let's connect. And we want to give you guys a platform and a voice to show your project and let everybody know what you guys have going on, because we just want to help other people win.
Sounds great, man. You have a great conference call, brother.
All right. Thanks so much, man. Thanks, Quentin.
No problem. All right, so going from that, just quick station edification. You're watching the Shogun Gun Show, the Shill, Chill, and the Alpha. We currently have 350 on here. Currently, Shogun Crypto is at 306, taking the first lead. And, it's our platform. That makes sense. Up next is Zook, also known as Aftar. He's completely right. 41 people inside of here. Now, we've had high highs. The market pumps, you got more people just going around, watch stuff becoming it, and that's normal. But even in here, 351 people, and 42 of it being on someone not onto the main program. It only takes one person. We're talking about all the people that you're able to be vulnerable with and ask for help, but it doesn't even have to be that deep of being like super duper vulnerable. Just having the mindscape there, even just having that connection, it only takes one person to be able to change the course of your entire life. That's super important to remember when you're looking at these numbers. Definitely in a time like this, super, super huge. I'm happy to have everyone on here. Now, going and continuing inside of our alpha section, Angel from Dank Memes. Let's hear about the one thing. One or two, that's okay. What is going on with Dank Memes?
I'm gonna just talk about something we spoke about last time that is like officially trying to get polished up and whatnot. But I was talking about I want to talk today about the Discord events we have planned that will be happening in all of the channels and whatnot. So we already have one community member, the God. Uh, he's been going crazy. He's always in the Discord. He's always streaming TV shows, movies, you name it. So we're officially gonna get some stuff lined up and a couple events lined up. We're thinking about a movie night, a gaming night, and like a get together night, just where everyone can kind of hop in and chop it up with each other. So we're really excited to get that all lined up and scheduled up. We're gonna have a little post for it and everything. So yeah, just look forward to that.
That's nice. I said it then. I'm gonna say it again. Discord was my first going into like or I don't want to say my first, but my home. Going into crypto, Telegram was a little new for me. I like it now, but still a little new. And the process of incorporating that, because a lot of people from retail are going to be using Discord, and going into that mentality of also going into your strong suits of games, shows, the social environment, definitely like nostalgic factor, the social element of that is huge. So you guys are playing right into that. And so when you're from the outside perspective looking at that, when a community is building and they know their strong suit and they're going in towards the strong suit and they're able to appeal to outside retail that is also going to be able to come in with a stronger brotherhood such as the gaming and show community, that's massive. So that's really cool to see from you guys.
No, I'm super excited for it, bro. Honestly, I'll even be tuning in because honestly, uh, since like I got into all of this, I haven't even for real sat down and gamed for quite a bit, and I enjoyed video games, but you got to lock in, you got to make those sacrifices uh, in order to get the things you really want. Are you going to choose the party from 20 to 30? So that you have to work for someone who's in their 60s and 40s, or would you rather work in your 20s and 30s so that you have people working for you when you're in your 60s and 40s? You know what I mean? And you got to think about it like that.
That's really, really important. For me, gaming is like growing up with it. I use it as a sense of relaxation, but I can never get too into it. you know, um, I find that when I am able to organize the time and just be really efficient with it, that it does a lot more. But I middle that in with other things, going to social events with friends, with my girlfriend, connecting with my friends from New Hampshire. That allows me just to sort of change the environment a little bit, which allows me to push harder when I need to work. So I control those windows, which overall helps my bandwidth just sort of keep it together. That way, when things are coming in as hard as they are from multiple different directions, and you have to multitask and you have to take care of things and you have to think out of the box, you have a section just to be stupid. It doesn't like some games are just like so easy just to go on and play and do stuff, and you can just be stupid in it, and it doesn't take too much. Here goes after, but his community is still here. His community is still here. We still have 55 people now. We're running at 370. That's super cool to see. Now we're gonna be getting. Oh, okay. He had to drop out to actually join teams on his computer. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. It was fantastic to have him. Now going into this last section of just the conclusion. So, Angel, very nice to have you. Very nice to have your community from Dank Memes. What do you have to say as one final conclusion and goodbye?
One final conclusion, really, I just want to, as I always do, but I just want to thank them for their resilience. I want to shout out the team for their resilience. It is all a community effort. It's a community takeover, and it's beautiful to see this big mixing pot of all these ideas and innovation. Like you're saying, is huge, and we're all for it. And this project has limitless potential, like endless. So, yeah, super bullish.
That's really cool. Very good job. Thank you for you being here, Angel. I know normally I say it to everyone, but it was very nice to have Aftar in here. Or I should get used to saying it as after or after. How do you say it? After? sort of, and like not as like an R, but after, something like that. But thank you for the community being inside of here. I see you inside of the comments, being able to run it up and shoot it up. That's fantastic to see. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for my team for continuing to organize and push. It's a tough time, but we're pushing through it. Just as always, we're innovating, we're creating, we're doing our best, we're putting our best foot forward and thinking of things as they come up. Being reactionary is important in a time like this. Thank you everyone for watching. As always, the process that we say live well is that our enemies, the people alongside us, the best thing that we can do is to, no matter what happens in the future or is happening right now, always live well. All right, I'll catch you all later. There's going to be a little bit of an outro, so and then Angel, I'll talk to you in the back office. Nice job.